Like, oh. Hello, welcome back to the Grace Gorgeous channel. Like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, and subscribe to my channel. Okay, we're going on a spooky adventure. Okay, it's coming back 4 o'clock. And we're gonna see what's it giving y'all. Okay, y'all gonna rate it from 1 to 10. What's it giving? Okay, so yeah, in Madison, I know it's a spooky. They're gonna tell ghost stories and stuff. Okay, it starts from 4 to 5:30. So it better be good, cause y'all don't believe how much I'm gonna pay for this.
Like every place I was staying, it was like, yo, someone's gonna go.
It's gonna be a hat, but I can actually see the bus. There's nobody on. It's gonna be parking at this bus stop right here. I'm looking at, and like I said, y'all gonna tell me what's it giving. But like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, share my video. And let me know what else videos y'all want to see on my channel, on the Grace Gorgeous channel, because I'm bringing back bangers for y'all. So I'm hoping y'all liking my content. And thank you for getting me to 710 subscribers. I appreciate it very much. I'm basically giving y'all good content, so I hope y'all like it. So we out of here, y'all. Well, look at it. So this is nice. I like this.
Would you like a cookie as well? You sure?
Yes, no?
Thank you.
I hope you enjoy your journey throughout Brooklyn and learn all about its haunted history. And remember, if things get too spooky, you know who to call.
Yes, and if anybody has any complaints, you take it up with the green guy. So let's start in 6.
Birthplace of Twizzlers, hot dogs, air conditioning, Mr. Potato Head, and the Brooklyn Dodgers. What most people don't know is that the original name of the Brooklyn Dodgers was the Trolley Dodgers, because people in Brooklyn were constantly having to dodge trolleys as they crossed the street. America's first roller coaster was also built in Brooklyn over the Coney Island. While it only went 6 miles per hour, that was still 5 miles per hour faster than traffic moved at the time. Yes, the speed limit in 1884 was 1 mile per hour. In 1816, Brooklyn officially became its own city, until consolidating with New York City at the turn of the century. This quickly became known as the Great Mistake of 1898. However, if Brooklyn had never joined, it would be the 4th biggest city in the USA. It's larger than Boston, Atlanta, Washington, D.C., and Minneapolis combined. A New York City guidebook from 1818 warned visitors to flee the narrow, dirty, and disagreeable place known as Brooklyn. And even as recently as 1975, the NYPD handed out pamphlets warning visitors to stay out of Brooklyn. But things have certainly changed here since then. In 2014, Vogue magazine named Bushwick as the 7th coolest neighborhood in the world. It's so cool, in fact, that you can even buy a Bushwick scented candle. That's right, for only $81, you too can have your home smell like weed and hot garbage.
And that is every in 1831. 2,000 military members and their families were buried right over here in the Brooklyn Navy Hospital Cemetery. In 1910, this staircase right here is the entrance to the land. In 1910, they shut down the cemetery as they ran out of space, dug up all the bodies, and moved them over to the Cypress Hill Cemetery. 1997, almost 80 years go by, and the city wants to develop that land. They do a field investigation, and what do you know? They discover a whole bunch more bodies that they did not know were still resting there. Whoopsie whoopsie. Now, instead of digging them up and moving them to go join the people they had been resting with for almost 100 years, The city just kind of decided to leave them where they currently reside, and they opened up the land for the first time to the public. It is now a park. That is why it is Navy Cemetery Park, if you notice that. What's very interesting about this park is they built these wooden platforms that are raised above the ground itself, and this is a way to kind of show respect to the dead, the unmarked graves, so you're not walking over anybody. And now it is mostly focused on being a, I can never think of the right word for this, plant habitat sanctuary, and with a focus on pollination is the main thing that it is there for, and I guess that's because the fertilizer is really good at the ground over there. As we make our way down this road, we're going to make this right-hand turn. This makes us going into the south direction. On the right side of the trolley is the Brooklyn Navy Yard. Now it is really, really big. The East River is directly behind it on the right as well.
The Brooklyn Naval Yard was established in 1801 by John Adams. Originally called Wallabout Bay, this land was first inhabited by the Canarsie tribe, until it was taken over by the Dutch in 1637. The Brooklyn Navy Yard has played a major role in wartime history. Some of the most famous vessels were built here, including the USS Arizona, a ship that was bombed and sunk in Pearl Harbor. The Navy Yard is also famous for its hospital. In the 1950s, a young doctor named E.R. Squibb invented anesthesia inside the hospital's laboratory, forever changing the course of medical practice. The hospital also served as a prison during the Civil War. Because of its size, security, and fortification, captured Confederate soldiers were brought here, many of which died on sight. The most famous prisoner was Fuji-in-Chief Bendovi, who led a cannibalistic attack on an American ship in 1840. He was taken to the Navy Yard, but was only in the country for a couple of days before dying of tuberculosis. His head was then cut off, embalmed, and put on display. For a while, his death mask hung in the doorway of the Navy Hospital, greeting everyone who entered. Today, the now-closed Navy Yard Hospital is used to build sets for Saturday Night Live. One of the most gruesome events in American history happened right here. From 1776 to 1783, the British Army set up a fleet of prison ships in Wallabout Bay, nicknamed Floating Dungeons. These prison ships were so gruesome that the British used the threat of being sent to one as psychological warfare. The most notorious of them all was a ship called the Jersey, aka Hell. More people died in these prison ships than in battle. These ships, which were only built to hold 400 men, filled up to 1,100 at a time. The men and boys were only given brackish water to drink, and moldy food with some rancid meat to eat. Aside from starvation, death came in the form of smallpox, yellow fever, typhoid, dysentery, gangrene, and execution by guards. Rodents ate away at prisoners' wounds, while lice and fleas plagued them. 6 to 12 prisoners died per day. Every morning began with guard.
We started in 2010. There was no whiskey that was distilled here in New York City from the time Prohibition ended until 2 guys making illegal moonshine in their Bushwick apartment decided to apply for their whiskey distilling license. They opened up the Kings County Distillery once they got approval, turned it into a worldwide brand, and it's doing really well. I don't have any morbid stories of anything bad happening over there, so I guess they just made out with some really good luck, and it's a very beautiful building. If you guys are ever in this area, they have an amazing tour that I have taken multiple times, and you also get a little drunk on that tour, so it's really fun. Not as good as my tour, but you know, it's pretty close. If you look to your left and your right, we are currently driving down Sand Street. So from the mid-1800s until about 1950, this was considered Brooklyn's red light district. So all of the sailors and Brooklyn Navy Yard workers would come from the water down in that direction, make their way down this street and engorge themselves on all the things that they hated back then. Gambling, brothels, saloons, all the fun stuff that we enjoy. Thus, deeming the nickname of this surrounding area Hell's Half Acre, which is very exciting and fun. As we make our way forward, we're going to be heading into the oldest neighborhood in Brooklyn, named Dumbo. I'm sure you guys know it.
Caused by iron containers used to transport workers to the river floor. As they descended into the water, a dangerous amount of gas would seep into their bloodstream, resulting in blinding headaches, itchy skin, bloody noses, slowed heartbeats, excruciating joint pains, paralysis, convulsions, numbness, speech impediments, and death. Add a man flashing you. Those are also the side effects of riding the subway during rush hour. Just 6 days after its grand opening on May 24th, 1883, a woman tripped on the stairs and fell down, which caused another woman to scream out. People nearby thought that the bridge was collapsing, and panic quickly spread. Thousands of pedestrians stampeded towards the exit, creating a massive pileup of men, women, and children. A total of 12 people were crushed to death, and 25 were wounded. But, after all, this is still New York, so the victims were pickpocketed and robbed. In order to prove the bridge's stability, P.T. Barnum marched 21 elephants and 7 camels across the Brooklyn Bridge, which led directly to his new circus on the other side.
Hundreds. There's been about 22 very serious fires that have broken out on that exact spot, killing at least 22 people throughout history. The most recent fire was 2017, where the fire actually spread to the marina along the water and unfortunately ended up killing a very elderly man. He was 98 years old, living on his houseboat along the water. That is the last time that this has happened. This is not the original spot of the Brooklyn Ice Cream Factory, actually. It's only been here for about 5 years. It used to be along the water over there, and this used to be I forget the brand, but it's a very popular brand.
They watched in excitement as the show began. Everything was going smoothly until the play entered its final act around 11 p.m. A piece of scenery accidentally caught on fire. Smoke began to emerge on stage. A man sitting in the audience stood up and yelled, "Fire," causing people to panic. In an attempt to keep the crowd calm, the actors continued on with the play. Leading actress Kate Claxton told the audience, "There is no fire. The flames are part of the play." When debris started to fall onto the stage, they decided to run for safety. People in the more expensive seats located on the main floor were able to quickly escape. But the working class men and women in the cheaper seats, located up in the balcony, became trapped. The narrow staircase was crammed with hundreds of people trying to get down. Some people died from falling off the balcony, and others were crushed to death when they were trampled over. One witness was quoted saying, "Women screaming, pushed aside by rough-looking men and boys. I saw a large, rough man who appeared to be blind from the excitement jump over the heads nearest to him and come down on the face of a fallen woman. The sight sickened me. You see, in 1876, there were no such things as fire and safety regulations. In fact, there wasn't even a bucket to put water in. And while there were a few doors leading outside, they had all been previously locked in order to keep out theater crashes. One of the ushers was finally able to get a door open, but it only made things worse when a burst of air coming from the outside caused the fire to spread even faster. It took all of 20 minutes from the start of the fire to having the entire theater engulfed in flames. The New York Times wrote, "No such awful sacrifice of human life has ever been known in this country. Shipwreck or the casualties of war."
Was rolled up at 8. Them that had got seats, they were happy. Outside they were mad that were late.
Cobble Hill is really fun and exciting because Cobble Hill, for 200 years, from the beginning of the Revolutionary War, 1910, the entire canal solidifies with human waste. By the early 90s, the Gowanus Canal is so incredibly polluted that the EPA made... Now, the Maryland 400 battle was very important, and we should really remember the Maryland 400 more than we actually do. Because of this battle, it allowed George Washington to hide out in this little stone hut right behind where Staples would be. The British were distracted with the Maryland 400, and this allowed George Washington to get back to Manhattan, continued unchanged since that day. And once we pass this park, it brings us into the very bougie neighborhood of Park Slope. Ooh.
Fire Church was completely destroyed, killing its 90-year-old caretaker. There was one survivor, an 11-year-old boy named Stephen Lambert Wallace, known as the boy who fell from the sky. Stephen's body was completely on fire before landing onto a snowbank, where pedestrians rolled out the flames. He was taken to the hospital, but died the next day from pneumonia due to his lungs being filled with jet fuel. What's even worse is that Stephen wasn't supposed to have been on that flight in the first place. He was originally supposed to travel with his mother and sister 2 days earlier, but stayed behind due to a sore throat. Evidence of the plane crash can still be seen around Park Slope today. Over on Sterling Place, the patched up bricks are a different color than the rest of the building, having been destroyed when the plane's 25-foot right wing sliced through it.
Excuse me. This is a place of business. Colonel Glenn will be on Earth for the rest of his life. Plane went down. American Airlines Flight 1 to Los Angeles. Today.
There could be 100 people on there. Just fell out of the sky.
So anyway, he has this mansion built with the residential elevator. He is very strict, and he says only me, my wife, and my 3 children can ride this elevator, not even my staff can. They spend their first 3 months in the house, and then doing as rich families do. The wife, Thomas Adams Jr., and his 3 children go on vacation for 1 month, leaving the staff behind inside of the house. Now this gives the staff the perfect opportunity to ride the elevator without anybody knowing. So all 5 of the staff members cram into the elevator at once, and they start riding it up, and there is no way to get out of the elevator, as the elevator shaft can only be unlocked from the outside. There was absolutely no safety features built into this elevator. By the way, it's basically a prototype of what would be an elevator, and there was no escape hatch inside of it for them. They tried their hardest to get out of the elevator shaft. 3 weeks go by. Thomas Adams Jr., his wife, and his 3 children come home to find their entire staff starved to death inside of the elevator shaft. They are so bothered by this event that they remove the elevator from the house and turn it into 10 individual apartments, and they move out, and that is currently how it exists today. However, funny enough,
Glenn collected the landscape around this famous park. The park covers 526 acres of ground. The original construction of Prospect Park began in 1866 and continued until 1874. Each year something new is added, but nothing is ever taken away. This park is rated one of the most spacious and one of the most beautiful in the country. Like the people, the animals welcome the coming of spring, for they seem to welcome an audience after a winter of hibernation. But winter or summer, Brooklynites enjoy themselves in Prospect Park. In winter, there is ice skating.
maybe take a gander to your right. This is the Brooklyn Museum. 1895 it was built.
It has 3 lakes, over 6 miles of main and minor walks and drives that cover an overall total of 13 miles. Just now it is sleeping off a March chill. In summer, baseball, cricket, and other games. And in the moonlight, a boat ride on the lake beneath the stars. Bordering the park are the fashionable homes, apartment houses, where the rich and famous of Brooklyn live, commerce and industry live. Then there is the famous Knights of Columbus building, the popular Montauk Club, and the Brooklyn Riding and Driving Club. In the long, long ago, George Washington's ragged, half-starved army marched down these very paths on their way to the Battle of Long Island. To Brooklyn, Prospect Park is hallowed ground, steeped in history and glory.
It is mummified animal remains, which is also kind of sad. However, they were dead before we turned them into this. So now, because of the government's dumb decision to make alcohol illegal.
A bird's eye view of a busy Brooklyn street. The city with more churches and houses of worship than any other city in the world. A slice of old Brooklyn.
They call me Lucky Luciano because I've survived getting beaten, stabbed, and shot. I'm so glad I'm dead, though, because if I was alive today, they'd call me #BlessLuciano. Let me tell you about a very lucrative time for me and my buddies. In the 1920s, some numbnut decided to make liquor illegal. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about Prohibition. During Prohibition, in New York, there were more speakeasies than they had bars before Prohibition. In fact, there was an estimated 100,000 speakeasies, most of which were located here in Brooklyn. And it is because of this that Brooklyn was dubbed the wettest borough. Now, the rich could still buy bootleg liquor, but for a high price. The poor could not. There were labels on the bottles promising blindness after the third glass. Unfortunately, this only made things worse, resulting in over 10,000 deaths. Poisonous alcohol wasn't the only deadly thing that was a result of Prohibition. Crime rates soared as people saw a new opportunity in the demand for bootleg liquor. Some of the top guys made over $60 million a year selling booze.
These patients did volunteer for this. He found that they all lost a total of exactly 21 grams. He then said that this means he discovered the presence of a human soul and that it weighed 21 grams. Now, he did a sequel to this experiment.
Williamsburg became synonymous for its factories. This industrial neighborhood consisted of poor tenements and immigrants living in squalor. As the years went by, the factories began to shutter. The area became abandoned for decades. Pretty soon, Williamsburg was crime-ridden and considered to be one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in all of Brooklyn. Today, what was once a slum is now one of the most expensive neighborhoods in New York.
The pool house is on the right. That's going to be talked about
here.
here.
It was built in 1936. It is one of the biggest in the city. There's enough room to fit 4 Olympic-sized pools inside it. It can hold up to 6,800 people. That's a lot of pee. But most importantly, the Karen Park pool is rumored to be haunted. There have been at least 5 people who have died swimming in it. The most frequently seen ghost is of a little girl who is seen crying, asking for help. She is believed to have drowned in the 1930s. Drops in temperature have been reported whenever she is spotted. The second ghost is of a 14-year-old boy who drowned in 1977 while taking a swim at 3:30 a.m. with some friends. Balls of light and orbs have also been seen. The pool eventually closed in 1983 and was taken over by the homeless community. In 2008, a park worker was sent to investigate a foul odor coming from the pool shed, which had been plaguing the area for months. Inside, he found a body so badly decomposed that the gender, race, and age were completely undetectable.
The Karen Pool in Brooklyn, medical examiner is trying to determine the cause of death of a man believed to be in his 50s. It's not clear when he died. Investigators say his body was found in a shed adjacent to the pool, which is now used for concerts and events, but not for swimming.
The pool was reopened in 2012 after a $50 million renovation. The Karen Park itself has seen its fair share of deaths. On July 24th, 2016, a woman was discovered dead in the park. She was found slumped over on a bench at this exact spot, Bedford and North 12th. She was the third person found dead inside a city park within a few days. Just 24 hours before, Another woman was also discovered dead on a bench behind the Brooklyn Children's Museum.
And on that very uplifting note, I would like to say thank you very much for joining me for Madame Morbid's Trolley Tours. One more time, my name was Tyler. Your driver's name was Danny the Demonic. If you guys had a really good time, one of the best things that you can do to help us out, we are a small business. There's only about 8 people that work for us. If you leave us a nice review on TripAdvisor or Yelp, that is really the best thing you can do to help the small business. If you mention Danny's name or my name, we do get a little extra something in our paycheck from our boss, so that's a nice way to help us out. Being a service position, a majority of our income does.
So please like, comment, subscribe. Hope y'all enjoyed the tour, because it's actually good to me. They actually did tell some juicy good stories in there. And I don't have enough. I'm just walking. But anyway, hope y'all like, comment, subscribe, have fun. And I will put the link down in the description of where y'all can go get y'all tickets from. And it is $69, and the other ones is $59. So it's actually cheaper on certain days, so you can actually get it for $59 or $69. It's actually good. It actually tell from back in the day into now, how they how it is now, like how they set up and how it is. But hope y'all like it. Comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell if y'all know what I'm posting. I am posting some juicy tours, some juicy comments and juicy everything that I'm giving y'all. So I hope y'all like it. I actually had fun. He actually told a really good story and explained even the screen, explained a little bit more of how everything went, how everything is supposed to be and stuff. So I hope y'all like it. And we out of here, folks. But like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if y'all know when I'm posting. And yeah, stay tuned and tell a friend, and share my video to everybody you know. And come on the Grace Gorgeous channel. Later, y'all.